What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I got a good one for you today. Today's video is about how to turn fear into creative energy. So I have a homework assignment for you at the end. I'm really excited about this video because it helped. This topic helped change my life in so many ways, and if you implement it into your life, it can help you make some big and wanted changes too. So let's go ahead, let's get right into it. I'm going to start off by making a very important distinction. There's a subtle difference between not wanting something and being scared of it. Oftentimes what will happen is we start off knowing that, okay, I don't want to be homeless, for example. That's something that we don't want. But then that seed will grow into a weed of fear. And now we're scared of experiencing homelessness. So that's the first path that seed can go. And that's where that will grow into. It'll grow into fear. And what that might look like is you taking action to avoid being homeless, to avoid being broke. So your action is grounded in fear in that first path. This is very subtle. The second path doesn't make its way over to fear. Instead, it takes this thing that we have that we know we don't want, homelessness, and it says, okay, so what do I want instead? What's the contrast to that thing? It's financial abundance. Financial abundance is something that I want. You see how you can go about making that distinction? You have what you don't want. Instead of letting it grow into a fear, we can say, okay, so what do I want instead? And then instead of acting to avoid the thing that we don't want, we're acting to create the thing that we do want. So chances are that seed, that is something that we know we don't want, has grown into fear for a lot of things in your life. But the good news is that you can reverse this process. So you can take it right back to saying, okay, well, I'm a little bit scared of this. I'm a little bit scared of going broke. So I know, okay, that's something I don't want. Well, what do I want instead? Oh, I want financial abundance. So now you could take that fear that you had and you could channel it into creative energy. Instead of acting to avoid bankruptcy, now you're acting to create wealth. And you might be saying, yeah, but Evan, it's the same thing. Acting to avoid bankruptcy is acting to create wealth. No, it's not. And it's subtle. It's subtle, but it's very important to understand why it's not. If you're acting to avoid bankruptcy, bankruptcy is the subject in your mind. That is what you are thinking of. When you think about your finances, there's an underlying feeling of fear. Biologically, that actually has an effect on you as well, and you can feel it. So that's not good for your health. But that's just a side note. It's grounded in fear. It's grounded in bankruptcy. That is at the forefront of your mind. You're avoiding bankruptcy. But when that's what's on your mind, that's the thing that you are going to invite into your life. If you act to avoid bankruptcy, you might just take the first job that you can get your hands on. So you might take a 9-to-5 that you don't enjoy at all. And now you're not bankrupt financially, but you're bankrupt in essence. And you've actually limited yourself as well for how much potential you could have had in terms of creating wealth. Because you say, oh, this is secure. Okay, this pays me some money. I'm going to be able to get by doing this. Yeah, let's do that. I won't go bankrupt. But now you've put a limit you've limited yourself on how much money, how much wealth you could generate. And also, you're bankrupt in essence, most importantly. Because sure, now you have a house, you have a roof and a fridge with food, but you're miserable with your life. You might as well be broke. There's probably some people on the street with no money that have a better quality of life in terms of how they feel. Now, if you act to create wealth because you said, okay, I don't want to go bankrupt, great. I know that I don't want to go bankrupt, so what do I want instead? I want to create wealth. Now you can start thinking, okay, how am I going to create wealth? Okay, well, what do I want to do with my life? I want to be happy. So I want to do something that I enjoy spending my time doing. So that's a necessity. Now you know, however you're going to go about creating your wealth, you're going to do it in a way that you enjoy. You see where that one subtle distinction is very important. It goes a long way because now it's grounded in inspiration. It's grounded in creative energy instead of being grounded in fear. Your course of action is going to be creative. You're going to create wealth. So the homework assignment that I have for you guys is to go ahead and write down on a sheet of paper all the things that you fear. Some really common fears, just to give you guys some examples, are as follows. The example that I already gave, which is a fear of financial scarcity. Another one is fearing judgment, embarrassment, fearing that you're not going to please the people around you in your life, and that's how the people pleaser is born. Those are just some really common run-of-the-mill fears. So, once you write down all the things you're scared of, and it's going to change for everybody, and take your time doing this, don't rush, be honest with yourself. I want you to go ahead and think about how those fears are impacting your life. So let's say you wrote out a list. Go ahead and write out, take your first thing on the list. Let's say it's a fear of going bankrupt. Go ahead and write that out on a separate sheet and write down how that is impacting your life. What have you done because of that fear? Or what have you not done because of that fear? That's a really good blueprint to see how it's impacting your life. So let's take that first example, the one that we used already, of going bankrupt. So that's your first fear. You're thinking about how it's impacted your life. Well, you took a job that you don't like because of that. Because you were scared of going bankrupt. It was at the forefront of your mind and you said, well, I got to do something quick. You jumped on an opportunity where you could just make some decent money. And now you're doing that. How is that impacting your life? Go further, go deep in this. Well, you're spending a lot of time doing something that you don't really love doing. And that's affecting the quality of your life. You come home and you're spending 8 hours a day doing something that you don't enjoy. Good. This is another thing now that we can see we don't want. So you can break these down and it'll show you more and more things that you don't want. Okay, well now I can go ahead and do the things that I do want. I can create what I do want because I know in contrast, I don't want A, so I want Z. I don't want to spend my time doing something that I don't care for, so that means that I do want to spend my time doing something that I care for. I don't want to go bankrupt That means I want to be abundant. Now, some of these fears, it's important to note that some of these fears aren't necessarily going to have a direct contrast. So, poor, rich, up, down. Some of them might not necessarily have that contrast. So let's go back to that run-of-the-mill list that I mentioned. And judgment from others. That doesn't necessarily have a contrast. Because you can say, okay, well, I'm scared of I don't want judgment from others. So what I want is not to be judged by others. Careful, because that's not something that you can directly control. That's out of your hands. So instead you could think, okay, well, this is a fear now. This is something that I don't want, that I have to get over. I have to get over this. I have to kind of deal with it. So that's a perfect example. So now you have to say, okay, how am I going to deal with this? It still presents you with contrast, though, because you can say, well, I don't want to be affected by the judgment of others. Okay. Well, now there's some inspired action that you could take. Because now you can create a higher self-esteem. You can create more confidence in yourself. Rather than being scared of the judgment of others. So it's not all so black and white. You're going to have to do a little bit of thinking here. You're going to have to do a little bit of digging and go a little bit deep. But in a lot of cases, it really is directly black and white. There's a contrast. I know I don't want this, so that means I do want that. Now you've reshaped your paradigm of fear. And you're channeling what was fear into creative potential now. This is a very, very powerful thing to be able to do. This can help you change your life. This can make the difference between making $50,000 a year at a job you don't like and making $200,000 a year doing something you love. Spending less time doing it. So this is a very good process for you to use in your life to create the life that you want for yourself and to get over your fears. I hope you guys liked this video. If you found it useful, please give me a like. Subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. The more interaction, the better. And I really appreciate you taking your time and watching this and investing in your life. I offer free coaching sessions. The first session is free to anybody who wants one. So if this is something that you're struggling with and you want a little bit of guidance, you could feel free to reach out to me and we'll work through it together. Or maybe it has nothing to do with this. Maybe you did this process and you could see it really starting to make a difference in your life, but something else comes up that you want some help with, whatever. I'm your guy. I can help you out. So give me a call and we'll have a coaching session. I think that's it. I don't think I had anything else to mention. I have a video called How to Be More Confident, and that's going to be really helpful with some of the stuff that you might be working through to get over your fears like I was talking about. So you can go ahead and check out that video as well. Anyways, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.